Welcome. The Kissing Booth 2 was released in 2020 and was directed by Vince Marcello. It stars Joey King and follows Elle again, but this time it's her senior year of high school and she's going long distance with her boyfriend Noah. So the first Kissing Booth came out, I think, in like 2017, 2018, somewhere around then, and my girlfriend watched it and she thought it was terrible, so she told me to watch it, and I watched it with her, and it was terrible. So I did not have high expectations when I saw that there was going to be a second one being released, but she really wanted to watch it, so we decided to watch it, and in a way, I'm glad that I watched it because there was quite a few laughs to be had with this movie because it really is pretty bad. But weirdly enough, it is better than the first Kissing Booth, which I'm not really sure if that should be considered an accomplishment because that isn't really hard to do because that is a terrible movie. But let's get started with talking about some pros, with the first pro being the CGI effects. They used a lot of CGI for some of their sets, and I gotta say, it did look really pretty, and a lot of the set locations that they did have were also very pretty. It's a very pretty looking movie. That's really all that I had that is a positive of this movie. I mean, Marco, I think, could be a positive of this movie. He's pretty good. The actor who's portraying him, he does a good job. Then there's just a list of cons that we gotta go over, so let's do that because I'm pretty excited for that. So the first con, obviously, is going to be the writing. It is so bad. They don't know how to write teenagers or people in high school. And I feel like that's an issue with a lot of movies about high school that are really cheesy and corny because they write it that way. And so it paints this really unrealistic picture of how it is to be in high school. And I thought it was extremely unrealistic, all of these high schoolers and what was happening. The most realistic part of it probably would be the real issue of long distance relationships, which I think it's a good idea that they decided to go straight in on that idea, but they do it really poorly because they often would paint Joey King as the problem when her character really wasn't the problem in the first half of the movie. And I think it paints it in a light that, oh, this woman is having a problem with this relationship, which is really unfortunate because that is not at all what it should be trying to portray. It should be portraying a relationship that is struggling, and there's faults on both parties, but all of the blame just keeps on being put on her every single time. And I don't know if that was intentional or if that's what they weren't going for, but it really makes her seem like the problem for that beginning half of the movie, and it really is painted in a really poor light. That bug actually made me kind of upset because don't write your female characters like that where they're always the problem, because it's not right. It's really sexist, so please stop. Talking about some of the other problems, I mean, the relationship between Elle and Noah is extremely toxic. The relationship that Lee is in, that one is pretty toxic. But what is the worst thing about this movie is that it basically just has the same exact plot as the first movie, just different. So, in the last movie, Lee had an issue with Noah and Elle starting to date each other because, they're best friends, and he was starting to get jealous of all of that. And in this movie, it's basically the same thing, except Noah becomes friends with this girl in college, and Joey King's character gets really jealous about it. And it's just the same thing that was just repackaged and thrown to us a different way. And it feels like the same movie in that sense, but they decided to make this movie 2 hours long. And we get to watch it for a whole 2 hours, where they just throw in other random plot points in between, and it's just feeling so long. So, I'm gonna give this movie a 2 out of 10. And if you watched the first Kissing Booth, then by all means watch the second one. But I will say it is better than the first one. So there's your little star of recognition, Kissing Booth 2, like you really deserve. If you couldn't tell, I was being sarcastic. It doesn't deserve any recognition, and none of these movies should ever be made again. So thank you everyone for watching. Leave a comment down below if you have any other movies that you would like me to watch. And I'm sorry that Scary Stories wasn't recorded. I was busy this week, and I watched this movie, so I thought it would be pretty fun to review it. But don't worry, it's going to be next week, 100%. There's going to be some guests. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, let's flash forward to the next review.